Okay, hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about the Tony Blauer spear system. So I gotta clarify real fast that I am not certified in his spear system or any of his things. I am not, uh, never met the guy, never even really had formal training in his stuff. I can tell you that I have met some people just along in my martial arts journey who have trained in the spear system. And actually, now that I think of it, one of my instructors, one of my very influential instructors, was an instructor under Tony Blauer. So there you go. But that's about it. Okay. So I'm not an expert in his stuff, but the reason why I'm making this video is I just wanted to give props. I wanted to give credit to where credit is due. Um, for me, this guy is a big influence and left a big enough footprint in the world of martial arts for me that from time to time, I see it today where people are basically talking about stuff that 90% of the time can be traced back to this guy, and they give no credit whatsoever. So I think that's wrong. And in the martial arts, you always need to cite your sources. I believe we need to do that as much as we can. Now, I don't always do that, but I try to as much as I can. So whether you made it up or it's something that you discovered on your own or with your students or whatever, you need to cite the sources. If you got it from a video game, that's fine, but say it. Don't, people are weird about stuff like that. And, you can't, maybe people do hide things like that and they're not clear about stuff like that because, people will judge you and make fun of you. And it's wrong. So we have to cite our sources. This guy's material, I see it stolen and never given props or credit to. So his stuff, from my understanding, is basically when you're getting attacked on the street in a self-defense scenario, you're getting attacked. My understanding is he wants to go from the oh crap, where you're suddenly getting attacked, to being able to access your skill set. So there's a gap right there from going, what the heck's going on? From that being surprised to, okay, now I'm using my stuff that I've trained in. That gap, he wants to minimize that gap as much as possible. And that makes sense to me. His stuff makes sense to me. Okay. So that is my understanding. That is something that is a gap, a hole in many people's systems, many people's styles, many people's trainings, period. A lot of people don't address that, so they're untested. They don't know, not just untested, they don't have an answer there. And this guy addresses that. It's a very critical point. When you suddenly get attacked, it doesn't matter how much training you got, but are you able to go from the surprise, the shock, you're in shock, into action? Are you able to overcome that? What do you have to overcome that? And like I said, he specifically, directly confronts that and solves that problem. So anytime I hear someone mention like flinch or flinch response, to me, you could trace that back to this guy. So in the martial arts world, I remember in the 90s and so on, he would be, his articles would be on Black Belt magazine, and I would always read them with interest. And like I said, it just made a whole lot of sense to me. Now, you might be going, well, Wmpyr, if it made that much sense to you and you like his stuff that much, why didn't you go learn it? And the reason why I didn't was because I was working on the same kind of material, the same whole area in my own, by myself, from my own experience and stuff. Because I had heard, at some time in my martial arts training, early on, I had heard about, the street being different from what we're training in the dojo. Like martial arts and street, it's different. If you face an expert martial artist and you face a street fighter, that not that one was better than the other, is just, it's different, bro. That is something that I remember. And in some ways the street can be way worse, is definitely one of the things that I remember. And somewhere in New York, I think, or it could have been California, LA, who knows, but I thought it was New York, a world famous karate instructor was like in an alley, got attacked, basically, from I don't know if it was one attacker or multiple attackers, and his karate didn't come out, so he got beaten to a pulp. And he's a world famous instructor. I don't know who it was, but his skills did not appear, and he just got mugged, or whatever the case it was, sent to the hospital, or something like that. I had heard that. Okay. So then I started asking the question, if this happened to a world famous, this world class is what I'm saying, world class martial arts guy, then it could for sure happen to me, where I'm in the street and unexpectedly, this person wants to assault me or whatever, and will my martial arts come out? Now, I understand that that's different from sport. Sport, getting in there, sparring or full contact fighting, it's different from that, because in the street you don't expect it, or you shouldn't. Or should you? If what I'm saying is, if you do expect it, why are you there, right? So chances are you woke up in the morning and you said, I'm going to go to the bank, or I'm going to go grocery shopping, or I'm going to go do this or that. If you did expect you were going to get jumped, don't go there. You wouldn't have left the house, right? So that's what I meant by that. But let's say you did go to the bank or whatever, and all of a sudden this dude comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh snap, I'm in this bad situation, and the guy suddenly attacks you, right? Will my stuff come out? All the training that I've been doing, will it come out? That was always a question I had, and like I said, in once I'm in the situation where it's like, okay, we're gonna fight, yeah, I was feeling fairly confident about that. But this is on the street, man. It's like I said, it's different. This guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, can I, uh, they come up to you all friendly, and they're gonna con you some way. They're gonna try to trick you in somehow, right? Hey, do you have a lighter, or can you show me on the map, or whatever the case, right? They're trying to trick you, and you're already getting a bad feeling, and this and that, and all of a sudden they attack you. Will my stuff come out? So Tony Blauer addresses that. I had thought about that, just being in martial arts and being interested in self-defense. So I had been worried about that and tackling that in my own way. So by the time I saw Tony Blauer's stuff, his stuff is amazing, and it's well put together, and he was light years ahead of not just me. I believe the world in many ways. He was light years ahead putting together this system. But by the time I saw his stuff, I was like, oh, wow, okay, so this is how he did it. I'm not saying that mine was any better, like the way my solution was any better than his solution, but I'll tell you this, okay? His solution is amazing, no doubt. I give full credit. That's the whole point of this video. My solution is mine. And because of that, it's super valuable. I'm not going to be ignorant about his stuff, but I'm saying my stuff, it comes from me. I put in the work. I know how I developed it. I remember the things that happened to make it, to evolve and develop what I did. That is more powerful than someone coming up to you and saying, "Hey, this is a great package here, check this out." Which it could be. It could be an amazing package. Like in this case, it is. He has an amazing program, but what you come up with on your own, don't ever undermine that, is what I'm trying to say. Because at the end of the day, what you created with your two hands is, that's the whole thing. That you can't beat that. You can't top that. Okay, you could improve it. You could, and I watched this guy's stuff, and I, how would you call it? Maybe I tweaked mine off of it, but at the end of the day, I have my own, and that's why I didn't go into his system. It was more like a check for me, watching his stuff and going, "Oh, this is how he did that. Oh, this is how he tackled this area and this area, this area. This is how he words it. Okay, great." So I felt like I'm on the right track, you know. And he was one of those guys. Burton Richardson's another guy that I felt. When I see his martial arts stuff, he's I know he's primarily a Jeet Kune Do guy / MMA guy, but I see his stuff and then I look at mine, and I feel like, it's a great way to check. And there's other instructors that have done that for me. Professor Bram Frank has done that too, where I get to check my craft, because every once in a while you got to check, because if you don't check, you could end up in La La Land. What I mean is a fantasy world where you've been so obsessed about this stuff and you're lost in your own mind, essentially. And because of that, you go away from reality. So it's always good to check. And that's what Tony Blauer has done for me personally. In not personally sounds like I met the guy. I meant like in my own personal case. That's what this has been. So well, one of the things that was a very, very important experience for me was, I remember in Austin, Texas, it got so cold, which is rare, that it got so cold that it was snowing and it was ice everywhere, right? Snow and ice everywhere on the ground, rare for Texas and Austin, Texas. And anyway, I had a puppy at the time. Puppy had to go to the bathroom, and I was living in an apartment. And in Austin's kind of like L.A., or is it L.A. or San Francisco, where it's very hilly. You've seen the Dirty Harry films. I think that's San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. Could be L.A. Lots of hills, right? So Austin is that way. This apartment had a bunch of hills, and I knew going out there, walk my dog so that he could pee, I knew that I might slip and fall down. And I said to myself, well, dude, you've done a little bit of judo. You have some Aikido training. You've done various martial arts that do break falls, other styles, not just judo and Aikido. So I am no stranger to break falls, rolling, and all that. So I was like, dude, I've done the training. It should come out. I should be fine. So this is a great way to test it out. So I went and I had no fear. I didn't even think about it, and then I just walked my dog, and sure enough, I slipped. I fell hard. I hit my back, knocked the wind out of me and everything. And I was like, it did not come out. And what was interesting there for me was that, someone else might say, well, that's because you didn't have enough training. I'm like, no, because the way that I see it was, with the amount of training that I had, it should be enough. And if it takes 20, 30 years of training, then there's something wrong. Okay? It shouldn't be like that, where I need to do like over 30 years of constant training or it's never going to come out. Then I don't want to learn that style. Okay? So I am going, what happened? And I was trying to figure it out. I was going, what the hell happened? And why didn't it come out? This means that if on the street, the bad guy assaults me, there's a good chance that my other techniques won't come out because, in a surprise moment, it should have automatically come out. The muscle memory, where was that? And it sure as hell did not come out with the break falls. So how can I expect the other stuff to come out? Well, okay. So the next time I took my dog out, so, once again, there was snow and ice everywhere. Took him out. So we go out, and this time I'm like, dude, I'm gonna fall. I'm ready for it. I'm without a doubt, I will fall. It's gonna happen. And because it is gonna happen, so the earlier mindset was, if I fall, I have my training. It should auto come out, so I'll be fine. If I fall. Okay. And if I don't fall, then whatever. So that was my attitude. Now my attitude was, I am gonna fall sooner or later. I will fall during this outing, so I need to be ready for it. And sure enough, I did fall, and guess what? Break fall. No problem. No problem. Did not knock the wind out of me. I was good. I was good to go. It came right out. No problem at all. Just like I expected from the training. The muscle memory came in. So what was the difference? The difference was the mindset. The mindset was different. So that's when I realized, okay, so that made all the difference in the world. It wasn't the technique, it wasn't the repetitions, it was none of that. It was the mindset. Because I had done the training, like I said, I had done it. So then I started to, okay, then what is the proper mindset? How can I get there? So in a real life situation, what can I do? And here's another different, now that I knew that it was about the mindset, how can I make that mindset come into play? And there was this one situation I remember where I thought it was a home invasion. I was at my parents' home, which is the home that I grew up in, and late at night, I saw lights flashing. Yeah, I believe I saw lights flashing, police lights, right from 1 or 2 blocks down, and I was like, what the hell's going on? That woke me up. And then I heard somebody upstairs. So, I positioned myself in front of my parents' rooms to protect them. And all I had was a knife. So I took out my knife, and I was ready for, these robbers. I figured it was, at least 2. There could be 3, and I was gonna like in the movies, I was gonna take them out, right? And so I was hiding, and I even tried to wake up my parents, and I realized that wasn't gonna happen. So then I was like, I have no choice. I have to just take these guys out. So while I was waiting, I mean, I could tell you that just breathing was difficult. All right. I know a lot of people said it's fight or flight, right? And I disagree with that. I've been telling you guys it's actually fight, flight, or freeze. It's the triple Fs, not double Fs, but it's triple F. Fight, flight, or freeze. And in this case, I was turning into freeze. My hands were shaking. It was like I was like in an ice room, and I just I was getting frostbite. Like I just couldn't move. Everything was difficult. Everything was numb. My arms don't move right. My fingers don't move right. All of that was happening to me. So once again, that further backed up. So my mind was ready. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this for my parents. I'm going to protect them. I'll go to prison. Sure, I'm gonna protect their lives. And if that means I sacrifice my life, but I take out these guys, I'm going to do that. So I was fully, it wasn't even a question in my mind. I was fully ready to commit to that. No problem at all. But the body was going, bro, this is scary. This is super scary. So I understood that, okay, it's one thing for the mind to be ready, but now I have to connect the mind and the body together. So I developed a system for all that in my own way. And here is the third part to the charm. Okay, now we're getting more physical, because at first it was the mental realization, and now it's the mind and body connection. And now let me go to the body, the physical part. Was Muay Thai kickboxing was one of the styles that I studied fairly early on. I was able to learn it, luckily. I started martial arts in 1990, and there I also learned Filipino martial arts in the beginning, 1990. And that same year, on the summer, I went to summer school. It was a boarding school, and in that summer program, there was an exchange student from Thailand, and this guy, he taught me Thai boxing. It was brutal, but anyway, it was life changing. So Thai boxing has just been something that I'm not saying I'm any good at it, but it's just something I've learned for since the beginning, and it's one of the styles that I really like, just personally, just works for me. So anyway, if you watch the second Ultimate, I believe it's the second one, where the finals is Don Fry versus Tank Abbott. That's an incredible fight. Tank Abbott knocks Don Fry down with a freaking jab. Okay, with a jab, and Don Fry is he's known to being super tough. He got knocked down by a jab, and in the fight interview after that fight, he says, "Man hits like a mule." I don't deny it. So anyway, Tank's freaking jackhammers, what he calls arms, but those jackhammers, super powerful. They're slugging it out in the first couple of seconds, right? And Don Fry, who got floored, immediately gets up, and Tank is on him like a freaking rabid dog, throwing punches left and right. And because he's so committed to knocking out Don Fry, I think his balance was bad. And where most people would just get overwhelmed and or just get knocked out, period, Don Fry does the incredible. He moves forwards, I tell you, okay? He's probably not even half fully conscious at that moment. I think it's just a flurry of Tank being a rabid dog with jackhammers that most people, like I said, wouldn't know what's going on and would just get knocked out. Don Fry moves forward. What it looks like is a Muay Thai stance. The arms, I remember my instructor telling me, it's like the hood of a cobra. You're making the hood part to protect your head. Okay? So it's a triangle type shape. That's the fighting stance. That's designed to protect your head. And that, to me, is what it looked like. Don Fry was holding that stance and moving into the clinch. So it protected him, and not only did it protect him, it pushed Tank off balance. Tank said something about Don Fry stepped on my foot or something like that, and he lost his balance. Falls over, Don takes his back and chokes him, gets the win. Okay, so that being able to move in, so he created a wedge essentially. I don't think Don Fry was thinking, I'm going to use my Muay Thai stance here to do this. No, I think he was reverting back to his wrestling. It was like Greco-Roman wrestling coming out, and he was just trying to get to the clinch. He knew, as a former professional boxer, that if someone is in boxing, in the world of boxing, if someone is slugging at you, you clinch the guy, you hold on, and you stall that way, and you recover that way. So I think that's what he was doing. But the arm position, to me, was very similar to the Muay Thai stance. So that showed me the Muay Thai fighting stance. It obviously has function, but it could also be used in a similar manner to Tony Blauer's spear system, where he goes in with what he calls the spear. So seeing that connection there, and for me, it was Thai boxing, because I excuse me, I am not a Greco-Roman wrestler by any means. So, and I'm not saying I'm a Thai boxer, but I'm definitely more comfortable with Thai boxing. So that entry there, and then also because for my Escrima background, um, the Heaven Six, I remember being criticized before. Someone left a comment saying the Heaven Six starting position, the stance that you take. He said that is not meant to be anything practical other than it is to help you do the movement. That it's a starting position for learning the movement. It has nothing to do with actual combat. And because I had said that starting position is combat useful, and to this day I won't change my stance on that. And so this person says, no, that's not for combat. Yeah, I believe it. For you, you probably have no idea how to use it for combat. You have probably no intention how to use it for combat. For me, though, don't speak for me. For me, it is absolutely 100% for combat. It's for entering the clinch safely, and 100% I use it. It is practical. So don't tell me, how I do my stuff. And and for me that works, and I like that. I'd rather be me than him, because I'm the type of person that like when you do a karate form, every part of the form has meaning, maybe even sometimes 2, 3, 4 different meanings in that one move. But I like to milk everything. You know what I mean? So you talk to some people who do karate, even the bowing has some kind of combat application. Just, putting your hands together and bowing, and stuff like that has, you know um, combat application. So for me, it's the same way with Escrima. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that, if that's your mentality and that's what you've been working on, it becomes something that you might be able to use. And like I said, I like to milk everything. I want everything to have purpose. So uh, to me, it's not a starting position. So my Heaven 6 starting position is a combat technique for entry, just like the spear, just like the Muay Thai kickboxing that I was talking to you about. So these are things that I developed along the way, and then I looked at the Tony Blauer system, and I was like, oh, okay, good. I'm on the right track. You know, I don't know how he developed his spear system, but I think his was more based on psychology. Like if the example he gives is, if a bus is coming at you, what do? You naturally throw your arms up, as if you're going to try to stop the bus, even though there's no way you could stop the bus. Your arms are going to come out to the front trying to stop the bus. It's just a natural reaction. So he made that more combative, from my understanding. So he was studying the human reflex in that sense. So anyway, I just wanted to give props where props is due. This is what he teaches, what he explains, and the stuff that I've read or seen on video, or talked to my buddies that have trained in this. To me, it makes total sense. It is amazing stuff. It's a game changer. It is groundbreaking stuff. So I just wanted to say that, and indirectly, it's had a big influence in my own personal martial arts journey. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.